This is Sunrise Extra, streaming live on Wave Now.
Well, good morning, Tawana. You had an exciting weekend. Your friends got engaged.
Yes, shout out to Jake and Amelia. They got engaged at Churchill Downs yesterday, which was absolutely amazing. She had no idea. In fact, when he got down on one knee, her first words were, "You're kidding, right?"
That's a beautiful place to do it.
But she said yes.
She said yes. She said yes. So very excited for them both, for sure.
That's awesome.
Yeah, their only one complaint to me yesterday is it was a little too hot for them, which is fair.
Well, I have to ask, how many of your friends come to you beforehand like, hey, I need to know the weather to plan something accordingly? I'm sure he was asking for the forecast.
All the time. All the time. I'm used to it at this point, and I love doing that kind of stuff. So hit me up if you have any questions. For those of you heading out this morning, we are seeing temperatures right now in the 50s for most of us, a couple of low 60s here and there, but a comfortable morning overall. And we're getting to the point where we're starting to see the first bits of sunlight over the horizon, seeing that happening right now in Bardstown. Sunrise today is at 7:37 a.m. Now, with the clear skies in place, the sunshine will do its thing and push your temperatures right back into the 80s for your highs this afternoon. We do have more of an easterly, northeasterly wind in the forecast for today, so that means humidity not going to be incredibly high. We get to keep this comfortable weather for a while, but there is a little bit of a cool down coming our way for the end of the week. Rob?
Tawana, thanks so much. Keeping our eyes on the roadways this morning. No major problems to tell you about. The skies are going to be clearing out today. The temperature is going up, and it should be a good day out there for a drive. If you are heading out this morning, keeping an eye right here at 265 near Fern Creek off 150. It does show a little bit of a backup there. We don't know exactly what that is. We do have reports of a disabled vehicle at 64 East in the area of 22nd. So certainly move over to the side as the right shoulder is blocked in that area. Otherwise, things looking pretty good on your Monday morning. We'll send it back over to you, Shannon.
Thank you. A man is dead after a motorcycle crash on the Watterson Expressway. Police think a motorcycle and a car were going west near Algonquin Parkway when the motorcycle sideswiped the other vehicle Sunday morning around 7:20. The rider was thrown from the motorcycle and hit a guardrail. He died there. The name of the motorcyclist has not been released.
A man accused of stabbing and killing his wife is set to go before a judge this morning. Eugenio Santoya Sanchez is charged with murder, strangulation, and tampering with physical evidence. Police say he killed his wife, Arianes Rivera, at her home in Valley Station. Investigators found her dead with a cut on her throat on September 14th. Police said they were able to identify Sanchez as the suspect by watching security video of him arriving at the home. Right now, LMPD needs help identifying a double shooting suspect. Police are looking for the man in this video. Investigators say the person is connected to a double shooting at the 800 building, which is an apartment complex in downtown Louisville. LMPD believes the man changed clothes to avoid being arrested. Both shooting victims survived their injuries. If you know anything about this man, contact LMPD.
LMPD has arrested 2 men for trying to steal copper wire from a Louisville highway.
It comes as the city works to crack down on copper wire thefts, which hurt critical infrastructure. Wave News reporter Kirsten Foote joining us live with details. Kirsten.
Hey, Olivia, good morning. Olivia and Shannon, good morning to you guys. When you talk about critical infrastructure, that means things like street lights to help guide the way when it's dark outside. Copper wire thieves like to pull that wire out and then try to sell it, like these 2 men right here. That's what police say that they were doing on Saturday night along Interstate 265 and 65. The LMPD says that 43-year-old Daniel Bentley and 54-year-old Robert Kelly were stripping and burning copper wire. They're both charged with criminal mischief and trespass of a key infrastructure. The LMPD says that both men admitted to taking the wire with the intent to scrap it for profit. Cracking down on copper wire thieves, that is something that Mayor Craig Greenberg has talked about extensively. And here's what he had to say about that at a press conference in July.
We will continue to catch them. We will continue to prosecute them and hold them accountable to stop these actions.
Now, the 2 men are expected to be arraigned later this morning, and the Metro also has a tip line to get the public involved on cracking down on these thieves. There's a line that you can call. It's 582 clue, and qualifying tips will get a $5,000 reward. Reporting live, Kirsten Foote, Wave News.
Kirsten, thank you. Today, the city of New Albany is expected to present and update its comprehensive plan. City councilors will review the new plan during a meeting starting at 5 o'clock in council chambers. Our partners at the News and Tribune report the proposed plan includes goals related to housing, transportation, economic development, and quality of life. The city previously gathered public feedback on the comprehensive plan at a February open house. New Albany's last comprehensive plan was developed in 2017.
The Indiana State Farm Bureau says this year has been really challenging, with some farmers now harvesting in abnormally dry conditions.
Farmers are telling us they're in a tough spot, and consumers may feel the pinch even more when it comes to prices at the grocery store. White News reporter Rob Wells is here with a closer look. Rob.
Yeah, and Olivia, a longtime Indiana farmer, tells me that while last week's rains, they were a welcome sight, they're not going to solve all the problems that those in the agriculture field face this year. The Indiana Farm Bureau's latest report shows profitability potential for Indiana grain farmers to price their crops before harvest has been limited this year because of such recent dry conditions out there. A spokesperson tells me that a wet start to the growing season initially, especially in the west central part of the state of Indiana, delayed planting and then saturated soils, leading to root issues and a lot of poor crop growth. The late growing season in some areas has seen drought and heat, which has also made things really tough.
January to July was like the 5th wettest on record. And then if you look at just August, it was the fourth driest on record. And so for southern Indiana, there was a lot of struggle as far as just getting a crop in the field, getting it planted. If it wasn't planted early, it was planted in, middle to late May or June.
And he adds, while tougher crops like corn and soybeans may in fact turn a profit, it could be a lot different for other regions in the country that grow produce like peaches, apples, even oranges that have exteriors that are more prone to damage from high heat and little rain. By the way, last year, Congress provided economic assistance payments to farmers for 2024 crop losses. There's no word yet if that'll happen this year to offset potential shortfalls. Shannon, back over to you.
Thank you, Rob. A new report will soon reveal how effective Indiana Economic Development Corporation is at attracting new businesses to the Hoosier state. An audit on the corporation is set to be released this week. Governor Mike Braun campaigned on bringing more transparency to the IEDC and how it spent taxpayer dollars to attract new employers to Indiana. The audit will include whether or not there were instances of improper use of state or federal taxpayer dollars. Although he did not give specifics, Governor Braun said the report confirmed the need for increased transparency and accountability.
Pressure is mounting in Congress over the possible restriction of THC products derived from hemp. Kentucky lawmakers James Comer, Morgan McGarvey, Andy Barr, and Thomas Massie are leading the charge, writing a letter in opposition to House Speaker Mike Johnson that was posted to X on Friday. The group pushes back on language included in the 2026 FDA appropriations bill. Lawmakers say it would redefine what's considered legal hemp, which they claim would deal a fatal blow to American farmers, small businesses, and jeopardize tens of billions of dollars in economic activity. We spoke with one local hemp dispensary who says if the language of the bill is passed, it could jeopardize their business.
We will have to sit down and see our cards and see how we can even function. I wouldn't be surprised if that ends up with us shutting down or stopping or suspending.
Kentucky Senator Mitch McConnell has supported the change to the appropriations bill. In August, he said the changes would protect children.
This week, loved ones will remember longtime Jefferson County Sheriff John Aubrey. They'll celebrate his life and legacy. He died last Wednesday at the age of 86. A visitation will happen at Southeast Christian Church, the Blankenbaker location, on Wednesday from 11 to 6. Funeral services will be held the next morning, October 2nd at 10:30. He'll be buried at St. Michael Cemetery off Ellison Avenue. Former Louisville Metro Councilman Glenn Stuckel has passed away at the age of 90. He was an inaugural member of the Metro Council after the city-county merger and took office in January of 2003. He served District 17 until 2019. There will be a celebration of life for him on Saturday, October 18th at the Hurstbourne Christian Church. Visitation will be from 10 to noon with a memorial service right after.
New this morning, it was a busy weekend for first responders in Red River Gorge as teams were called to make two different rescues at the same time. The Wolfe County Search and Rescue Team says they got a call about a hiker who fell down a small cliff and a separate hiker who was unresponsive on a trail at nearly the same time on Saturday. The man who fell off the cliff had a broken leg and had to be lifted by ropes to safety and taken to the hospital. The rescue team say an unresponsive hiker had been stung by ground hornets. First responders were able to bring him back to consciousness, and he was able to walk back to the trailhead with assistance.
Today, Buffalo Trace Distillery will celebrate a major milestone. The bourbon maker says it's filled its 9 millionth barrel of bourbon since Prohibition. The distillery will celebrate that with a ceremony at 2 p.m. today. The accomplishment comes less than 3 years after they filled their 8 millionth barrel. Buffalo Trace says that's near record time for filling 1 million barrels, and they credit a more than $1 billion expansion project for speeding up the distilling process. Still ahead on Sunrise, lawmakers are working to avoid a potential government shutdown amid 2 cities now awaiting the arrival of troops. Our Washington correspondent will break it down. Towns and cities in eastern Kentucky are still recovering from the devastating flooding in 2022.
Now a documentary is highlighting the resilience of the survivors. An audience gathered in Frankfort this week to watch the film called Rising. It shows what happened right after the water started rising in July, but also the spirit of rebuilding and relocating. State leaders say it shows how the worst of times can bring out the best in people.
It really is a story of triumph, and I just wish everybody in Kentucky could see it.
I mean, it's an amazing thing when you see Kentuckians respond with kindness, with that parable, the Good Samaritan.
Officials say proceeds from the ticketed event will benefit the Team Kentucky Storm Relief Fund. Today you can get some free or maybe discounted coffee on your way to work this morning. It's part of National Coffee Day. Dunkin' is offering a free medium, hot, or iced coffee when you order through the app, as our producer just learned. Krispy Kreme also offering all guests a free medium, hot, or iced coffee, plus a free donut of choice with no purchase necessary there. Also, Starbucks will give you 100 bonus stars on their app when you buy any brewed coffee in any size. I will be taking advantage of the Dunkin'
For sure,
there.
yes.
Yeah.
Yes, Noah, our producer, just said, it's fake.
And I said, no, you have to order on the app.
Yeah.
You missed
I had to
pay. Yeah, no, you got to make sure you're doing it the right way. And the app does give you plenty of extra points. You get 100 extra points when you order on Mondays, too. So that's why I do Dunkin' Mondays. There's a whole method to my madness here.
All right.
I feel like I've learned so much about you. Also, by the way, get those apps too, because then you get like free or discounted things for your birthday month.
Yep.
Which I've been learning a lot this month.
Yeah.
So take advantage. Why not? Why not? And iced coffee, right?
Yes, French vanilla coffee this morning.
Yes. Okay. So for those of you heading out, maybe that will be your order. And keep in mind that we do have some beautiful weather in the forecast throughout the rest of the day. We're sitting in the 50s and low 60s right now. Our cooler locations, Hardinsburg and Lebanon, both sitting at 54 degrees right now, while it's 63 at the airport in Louisville. But I'm going to step out of the way because this sunrise is absolutely gorgeous. This is the sunrise showing up right now on our SkyTrack camera in New Albany with the Ohio River just calm and peaceful this morning. The beautiful clear skies overhead. And keep in mind, we are going to watch for more of these clear skies sticking around throughout the rest of the day. Yes, we can add in a couple of clouds for this afternoon, mainly those lower level cumulus clouds, but it's still mainly about the sunshine for your Monday as we return to the mid to upper 80s for highs this afternoon. Then as we get into tonight, skies still mainly clear, falling down into the 50s and low 60s yet again. We have been watching what's going on in the tropics. We do have Category 4 Umberto out into the Atlantic. We have Tropical Storm Imelda, which is a little bit closer to the Florida coast. And what we can see as we head into the rest of the week, more of that rain trying to show up along the Carolinas, impacts from Imelda all the way up towards Washington, D.C. But as Imelda really just pushes off towards the east later on this week, we'll also see high pressure dipping down into our region. This is why we're not really looking at much more in terms of rainfall or even that drastic cool down that we were looking at. Yeah, that's not really showing up as much as we get into later on this week. But we will see, though, some extra clouds for your Wednesday and Thursday, and that will help to drop your temperatures into the upper 70s and low 80s. Once we get into the weekend, temperatures still staying in that range, but seeing more of the sunshine returning to our forecast. And it's not till the middle of next week that we start to see some sort of rain chance coming our way. But as of right now, that rain chance is looking pretty low. So just looking above average with the warmth and pretty sunny and dry over the next 10 days.
Thank you, Tawana. In national news, leaders are working to avoid a potential government shutdown while two cities await the arrival of troops.
Washington correspondent Katrin Asaf has your week ahead in Washington.
The countdown is on to a potential government shutdown. With the fiscal year set to end Tuesday, the government will run out of money if Congress and the White House can't reach a deal to keep things funded. The president had previously sent a memo to federal agencies threatening another round of mass firings if the government shuts down. Right now, leaders are set to meet Monday to try and work things out. After pulling out of a scheduled meeting with Democratic leaders last week, President Donald Trump changed course and agreed to meet with Speaker of the House Mike Johnson, Senate Majority Leader John Thune, Minority Leader Chuck Schumer, and his House counterpart Hakeem Jeffries Monday at the White House. This after House Republicans passed a continuing resolution September 19th that stalled in the Senate. Also this week, troops may be deploying to Portland, Oregon. President Donald Trump, posting on Truth Social Saturday, said he's allowing Secretary of War Pete Hegseth to send troops to the city to protect ICE facilities from who he calls domestic terrorists. He also authorized them to use, quote, full force if necessary. It's not clear when exactly troops will arrive, but Monday, the National Guard will be deploying to Memphis in an effort to crack down on crime. That's your week ahead in Washington. I'm Katrin Asaf.
Today, the 22-year-old man charged with killing conservative activist Charlie Kirk will have a court hearing. Prosecutors have charged Tyler Robinson with aggravated murder and plan to seek the death penalty. Investigators say Robinson shot and killed Kirk while he was debating students at Utah Valley University earlier this month. Prosecutors say they have text messages and DNA evidence that connect Robinson to the killing. The lead attorney appointed to represent Robinson declined to comment on the case ahead of today's hearing.
4 people were killed and multiple others injured after a shooting at a Michigan church Sunday morning. Police reports identify the shooter as Thomas Jacob Sanford. He was shot and killed by officers on the scene. It happened just before 10:30 at a Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints near Flint, Michigan. Police say the 40-year-old drove his vehicle through the front doors of the church before getting out to shoot people. It's believed Sanford set the church on fire. Fire crews took out the fire late last night, and officers found additional victims in the rubble. The FBI is calling the attack an act of targeted violence, but they have not released a motive.
A man has been arrested and charged in connection with a deadly mass shooting at a waterfront bar in Southport, North Carolina. Police say 40-year-old Nigel Max Edge is charged with 3 counts of first-degree murder and 5 counts of attempted murder after carrying out what officials say was a targeted attack on patrons at American Fishing Company. 3 people were killed and at least 5 others were injured. Officials say Edge is known to law enforcement and is a combat veteran who was injured in the line of duty. He also reportedly suffers from PTSD. More charges are pending, and Edge is due in court today. Dolly Parton says she's postponing her upcoming Las Vegas concerts over recent health challenges. According to an Instagram post, the 79-year-old performer says her doctors have told her she must have a few procedures, but did not go into detail. Due to these health procedures, Parton says she won't be able to rehearse for the Vegas shows, but she will still be able to work on all of her other projects from Nashville. According to the announcement, the shows scheduled from December 4th through the 13th have been postponed until September of 2026. One of Parton's other upcoming projects includes a Broadway musical based on her life story. Hello, I'm Dolly will come to Broadway in 2026 with music and lyrics by Parton.
We wish her the very best. Coming up, a surprise delivery for a woman who went into labor at home with no time to get to the hospital. We'll show you how her 2-year-old son helped her through it all. A surprise delivery for a Wisconsin woman just a week out from her due date. She went into labor at home and realized there was no way she could get to the hospital in time.
Tim Elliott reports on how her 2-year-old son helped her through it all.
This is Miss Brooklyn Suzanne.
It's still a bit early in the day for 10-day-old Brooklyn.
Can you come say hi to Brooke?
But it's never too early for a good morning kiss from her big brother, Max.
Yeah? Is that your sister? Yeah. Can you say Brooke?
On the night of Monday, September 15th, Shannon Cron felt like she might be going into labor. So she called her husband, Mitch, who was at work.
Just a heads up. I feel like I'm kind of feeling something, but I don't know if it's going to progress.
While Shannon gathered her things to go to the hospital and waited for Mitch to get home, Brooklyn was eager to meet her family.
And standing next to the bed is when a big contraction hit and my water broke. And I was like, that happened really fast. So I got myself into the bathroom somehow, and Max followed me in there, and I just got the urge to push. And as I started pushing, I was like, I definitely feel her crowning. This is happening, I think.
Realizing something was happening with Mom, young Max jumped into action.
He was honestly my grounding point. He was so supportive and caring, and just his little voice of just mama, like just checking in on me, like, I know something's not right, and I'm here for you. And he just kept patting my arm and like touching my face, like, you're good, we got this.
About 15 minutes after Shannon's water broke, Brooklyn was born.
And I think I pushed maybe 3 times, and out she came. And I just kind of sat there for a second, like catching my breath, like, holy crap, that just happened.
I went to the bathroom, and there she is on the bathroom floor.
Mitch got home from work and called 911. Mom and baby are both happy and healthy.
It was surreal. Like, I never could have imagined that I would have been able to do something like this.
This now family of 4 feeling blessed.
Bless you.
Beyond words.
Proud of myself. I don't usually like to brag and be the center of attention, but it's been pretty cool to share the story.
This Wave News Update is sponsored by Oxmoor Auto Group.
Good morning, I'm Shannon Kogan. A man accused of stabbing and killing his wife is set to go before a judge this morning. Eugenio Santoya Sanchez is charged with murder, strangulation, and tampering with physical evidence. Police say he killed his wife, Ariana Rivera, at her home in Valley Station. Investigators found her dead with a cut on her throat on September 14th. Police say they identified Sanchez as the suspect by watching security video of him arriving at the house. Here is Tawana. How are we starting off the week?
We are starting off the week with gorgeous conditions, also watching for the sun to come up over the horizon in just 10 minutes. Already seeing clear skies showing up on our SkyTrack camera in New Albany, and most of us are waking up to those mainly clear skies. We are watching a couple of clouds, though, drifting into our very southern counties, so towards Greene, Taylor counties, and Adair counties to start off today, but everyone will get in on that sunshine as your Monday goes along. Still in the upper 50s and low 60s in most spots to start off your Monday. By the afternoon, in the mid to upper 80s for afternoon highs. And then looking ahead to the next 10 days, we keep the warmth around for tomorrow with plenty of sunshine, adding in some more of those clouds for the middle of the week, cooling down for the weekend with highs in the upper 70s and low 80s then. And once we get into next week, much of the same with more of the 80s and more of the quiet weather staying in our forecast. Rob.
Tawana, thanks so much. 264 near the airport. We're keeping an eye on some debris reported in the roadway that is blocking the right lane out there. Again, this is close to the airport, so if you're going out there, just kind of give yourself extra time and room in that area. Don't know exactly what that might be in the area, but it is slowing things down. Otherwise, things looking pretty good on your early Monday morning. Typical construction projects ongoing out there. We'll keep an eye on things throughout the morning. Otherwise, we'll see you back here in about another 25 minutes from now.
Good morning, happy Monday, and happy National Coffee Day. I hope you're able to celebrate accordingly. I know I definitely will be after we finish up here. But we have a lot to get to here with Sunrise Extra. It is officially postseason time for Major League Baseball, and a really exciting day yesterday for Reds fans, that's for sure. Plus, we'll have plenty of highlights from football over the weekend, talking about things happening around the Kentuckiana. But first, we want to start with a man who was injured in a shooting in Shively. This happened on 7th Street Road just before 6 p.m. on Sunday. First responders took him to the hospital, and he should survive his injuries. If you know anything about this, you're asked to contact LMPD. LMPD has arrested 2 men for trying to steal copper wire from a Louisville highway. Officers say yesterday they found 2 men near I-65 and I-265 who were stripping and burning copper wire. They identified the suspects as 43-year-old Daniel Bentley and 54-year-old Robert Kelly. They're both charged with criminal mischief and trespass of a key infrastructure. LMPD says both suspects admitted to taking the wire with the intent to scrap it for profit. They are scheduled to be arraigned tomorrow. LMPD officers made a major drug bust this week. On Friday, they executed a search warrant at a home in the Newburgh neighborhood as part of an ongoing narcotics investigation. During the search, detectives seized 2 illegal firearms, more than 5 ounces of cocaine, 8 ounces of marijuana, and 1 pound of pure fentanyl. The department touts the operation as having removed a massive amount of poison from the community and significantly disrupting a dangerous drug network. Their investigation remains ongoing. Effective Law Enforcement for All. That's the group that will now serve as the independent monitor watching LMPD. The group has been involved in police reforms in New Orleans and Minneapolis and will now oversee changes at LMPD. According to their website, the goal is to achieve policing that is effective, respectful, restrained, and safe for the public and the police. Mayor Craig Greenberg says the monitor team will meet with the community members and present semi-annual reports on LMPD's progress to the Community Safety Commission. You can meet the monitors at a meeting on October 14th at the Louisville Free Public Library's main branch on York Street. President Donald Trump is pushing for intense talks to end the war in Gaza with a 21-point peace plan. Trump is expected to meet with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu at the White House today. Reed Binya reports on the continuing discussions and mounting pressures to strike a deal.
The scars of war have left much of Gaza in ruins. Nearly 2 million Palestinians have been displaced within the enclave in the last 2 years.
It's madness, and it's ongoing.
The dire situation began after October 7, 2023, when Hamas militants waged brutal attacks across southern Israel, killing 1,200 people and kidnapping more than 250 others. Israel struck back, killing many more, but Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has vowed not to stop until Hamas is obliterated. As the second anniversary approaches, there's mounting pressure around the world for peace.
It's looking like we have a deal on Gaza. It's a deal that will get the hostages back. It's going to be a deal that will end the war.
The Trump administration has proposed a 21-point peace plan that calls for Hamas to release all remaining hostages within 48 hours of an agreement and sets out a post-war roadmap for Gaza. That's according to a source familiar with the proposal. Netanyahu told Fox News Sunday talks are ongoing.
We want to free our hostages. We want to get rid of Hamas rule and have them disarmed.
The plan does not indicate U.S. support for a Palestinian state. Dozens of countries are now backing a Palestinian state, including the UK, France, and Canada.
Giving the Palestinians a state 1 mile from Jerusalem after October 7th is like giving Al-Qaeda a state 1 mile from New York City after September 11th.
Friday, Netanyahu spoke at the UN General Assembly, but scores of delegates walked out. I'm Reed Binion reporting.
President Donald Trump has indicated that he might be sending troops into Portland, Oregon, even though Oregon's governor says there's no need for military troops in Portland. In a post on Truth Social, President Trump said he has directed Secretary of War Pete Hegseth to send troops to protect immigration facilities. The president described the Oregon city as war-ravaged and said ICE facilities were under siege by Antifa and other domestic terrorists. When asked for comment, the White House did not clarify what Trump meant by full force or which troops would be sent. City leaders say this will only bring chaos to Portland. For weeks, the president has been saying Portland is on a list of cities that needs additional federal law enforcement. The family of a Honduran citizen who died in New York in a New York City jail cell while in ICE custody says they're having trouble bringing his body to Kentucky for a funeral. Officials have identified the 42-year-old as Santos Reyes Banegas. Mary Diaz is his former girlfriend. She and his daughter have been trying to get his body back to Kentucky for nearly a week. Medical records show Reyes Banegas has a history of drinking, and the initial cause of death was liver failure. But Diaz says she doesn't believe that's how he died, because when the couple initially got back together back in 2014, he had a very physically demanding routine. Now they're heartbroken hearing about his death.
I'm just sad that I never got to see my papa. I have this charge to raise money to get my dad to here from New York and then to North, so I can have at least a little service.
My baby has to suffer for the rest of her life, knowing that her dad was taken by the hands of our government.
Now, with the process being prolonged, Diaz is heading to New York herself, trying to get some closure. The burial service is set to be here in Kentucky before shipping his body to Honduras, where the rest of his family lives. ICE has detained the superintendent of Des Moines Public Schools in Iowa. The Department of Homeland Security says Ian Roberts was arrested following what is called a targeted enforcement operation. The agency says he tried to evade arrest. Officials say Roberts had $3,000 in cash, a hunting knife, and a loaded handgun on him at the time of the arrest. It's against the law for an immigrant who does not have legal status to own a gun. The agency says Roberts is from Guyana and entered the country in 1999 on a student visa and was given a final order of removal in May 2024. Public records show he pleaded guilty to a weapons charge back in 2022. The family of a Kentucky college student found dead at a fishing tournament in Texas is now sharing their story. Campbellsville University student Peyton Hughes was competing in the tournament when he went missing last week. His body was later found in a lake. Hughes' family says they want him to be remembered for being kind, and a great brother, son, and boyfriend.
He believed in me more than anybody did, and always encouraged me to do the best.
He's the nicest, goofiest person I know.
Hughes' service is set for a week from today, October 6th, at the River of Life Church in Springfield. Today, we could learn more about the future of Mid-City Mall. Councilman Ben Reno Weber is expected to give an announcement or an update at the District 8 Advisory Board meeting tonight. That'll be at the community room of the Highland Shelby Park Library. Recently filed zoning documents propose construction of a new grocery store and 6 standalone retail buildings in the area along Bardstown Road. Mid-City Mall was put up for sale in November of 2024. The property is currently home to a Value Market, a library branch, and several other small businesses. I know a lot of people are wondering what could happen to that property. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back in 2 minutes. And thanks for staying with us here for Sunrise Extra. Well, so many people excited about fall starting right now, the leaves changing colors, the pumpkin flavored everything. But unfortunately, with fall also comes flu season. And doctors say now is the time to protect yourself against the flu. They say the best protection from the flu is getting the vaccine as soon as it's available to you. The CDC recommends everyone 6 months and older get the trivalent vaccine this season, meaning it protects against 3 strains of the influenza virus and can help lessen symptoms if you do get it.
So instead of ending up in the hospital with pneumonia, you might have a runny nose for a few days, and you will be much less contagious.
If you don't want to get the shot, there's also an at-home flu vaccine available in dozens of U.S. states, including Kentucky and Indiana. To find out if you're eligible, you should talk to your doctor. And as someone whose family Christmas was ruined by the flu a couple of years ago, I will definitely be getting my flu shot again this year. Kentucky Kingdom is expanding its fall events this year. Pumpkins at Kentucky Kingdom will return for a 4th year, and this time it'll have even more space. It'll include more than 1,000 pumpkins, trick-or-treat stations, and seasonal foods. The event will also feature the brand new Discovery Meadow, which will give you more space to explore. Pumpkins at Kentucky Kingdom runs now through October 26th. And you can win 4 tickets to Pumpkins at Kentucky Kingdom by watching Wave. For your chance to win, you can fill out the entry form at wave3.com/contest. The portal to enter is open right now, and we will draw and announce the winners every Friday on Wave Sunrise. Good luck to everyone who enters into that contest. A new documentary is giving us an inside look at the immigrant workers and all they do at the barns behind Churchill Downs. It's called Backside and will show at the cinema at the Speed Art Museum. The film is named for the area that houses workers who provide year-round care to the horses and the grounds. The signature green roof barns are home to 1,400 horses during the racing and training season. Starting this Thursday, there will be 7 screenings of Backside. General admission tickets are $12, and Speed members will get special discounts. I can say they do some amazing work there on the Backside that nobody really gets to see. We're now just 4 days away from the start of Keeneland's Fall Meet. It runs October 3rd through October 25th. You can expect some big crowds this year, too. So big that the website crashed the day that tickets went on sale because of that high demand. Keeneland had to shut it down and then release tickets on another day. Tickets are still available, but all of the Saturday dates are sold out. This will be the richest purse in Keeneland history, set to bring in nearly $11 million. This weekend, a record amount of money was raised at the annual Kentuckiana Heart Walk. $594,000 was raised there. This year, the walk was held at U of L. Every walker that signed up meant more money donated to fund CPR training. And for the American Heart Association, they have walks all around the country with the goal of making sure one person in every household knows what to do in case of a cardiac arrest. At the walk, you could often find people who have survived those kinds of events themselves or have had those conditions in the past. And one of those people is Jerry Miller, who had a heart attack after a run in 2019.
After that, I used the American Heart Association to learn about what happened to me and how I could take care of myself better. To me, for this year, it means that I want these people to recognize all the services that the Heart Association provides people they don't know about.
Wave News was a sponsor for this year's Heart Walk, and Shannon Cogan was the MC for that event, as she does every year. Something so special to her. That's how she spent her Saturday morning, and I was actually getting CPR certified. I do that every 2 years. All of the coaches in high school sports need to be CPR certified, so something you should definitely look into. Make sure everyone knows how to do that because it could save a life. We're going to be right back. We'll have some highlights from football over the weekend, plus the Reds are playing postseason ball this October. We'll be back in 2 minutes. Now hitting on some of the highlights in the sports world right now. Let's start with soccer because FIFA has unveiled the mascots for the 2026 World Cup. Meet Maple, Zayu, and Clutch. FIFA says the mascots symbolize part of its host country's culture. So Clutch the bald eagle, of course, represents the U.S., Maple the moose, that's Canada, and Zayu the jaguar represents Mexico. All three countries are hosting World Cup games next summer. At least 11 U.S. cities will host matches. The World Cup opens in Mexico City on June 11th. The championship final is scheduled for July 19th at MetLife Stadium in New Jersey. Well, U of L football could have a chip on their shoulder. They're still not ranked in the top 25 right now, even though they've got an undefeated season going so far. The Cards were certainly tested against the Pitt Panthers, though, over the weekend. The Panthers were in the lead 27-17. They jumped out to the early start, but the Cards found a way to take the lead late on a touchdown pass by Miller Moss to Nate Kuriski, winning the game 34-27. U of L head coach Jeff Brom spoke about his team's resilience after the game.
You got to still believe in what in yourself and your teammates and the plan. You just got to go play to the end. And luckily for us, we were, the tougher team in the second half, and we just found a way to, pull this victory out in a really, traumatic fashion that I was really proud of.
Yeah, rough start for the Cards, but they definitely figured it out there in the second half. The Cards host 24th ranked Virginia on Saturday. That'll be another challenge for them, but it is a home game, so that could help. That game starts at 3:30 at L&N Stadium, and you can catch that game on ESPN2. Looking now to UK football, they're looking for answers after a blowout loss to South Carolina over the weekend. The Cats turned the ball over 4 times in that 35-13 loss. Coach Mark Stoops says his team has to stop making mistakes.
Got off to the start we wanted to, just couldn't sustain it. And we did things in this game that we knew we could not do. And that's, giving up a punt block or a punt return or a defensive score, and we gave up 2.
We'll see if they can turn it around. They head to Georgia next Saturday to face the Bulldogs. That game starts at noon, and you can watch it on ABC. Indiana moving up in the top 25 after beating Iowa on the road on Saturday. The late touchdown pass from Fernando Mendoza to Elijah Surratt was the difference in the game. Coach Signetti said he was impressed by his team's fight.
When we needed to make the play, we did. We really struggled on 3rd and short. They came after us with the blitz. But when we needed to make the play, we did on 3rd down against the house blitz again. The Surratt broke a tackle, and it's a great road win.
The 8th-ranked Hoosiers have a bye week before they head to Eugene to take on the 2nd-ranked Oregon Ducks. Talk about a challenge. Switching now to baseball, the Cincinnati Reds back in the postseason for the first time since 2020. Now, the Reds actually lost to the Brewers yesterday. That made it kind of right there on the edge. They finished the regular season with a record of 83-79 under first-year manager Terry Francona. So that meant the Reds needed a loss from the Mets to secure their spot in the postseason, and the Marlins would do just that. They shut out the Mets 4-0. So that means the Cincinnati Reds got the final spot in the wild card. So that meant the team just went crazy. They celebrated with champagne in the locker room. Look at all of that champagne just being wasted. But hey, always a fun party and fun to see them enjoying that. So they have a challenge coming up in the best of 3 wildcard series. The Reds will face the defending World Series champions, the Los Angeles Dodgers. That's Dusty Baker's team. I know our sports reporter is going to be going crazy for that. Sorry to all the Reds fans, but you're going to hear Dusty cheer for his Dodgers. That first game is tomorrow night at 9 o'clock. And even though we're already looking ahead to next year, a different kind of baseball is coming to Slugger Field. The Cosmic Takeover Tour is coming to River City. It puts a glow-in-the-dark twist on America's pastime, so you can watch the Chili Peppers and the Glow-Mojis take on the field. They have neon uniforms and UV-reactive baseballs, so they haven't announced dates yet for it just yet, but you can go ahead and sign up for tickets because you have to win a lottery, and you can do that on chilipeppersbaseball.com. They always like to put a creative twist on baseball, kind of like how Banana Ball was, just a little bit of a different style. Well, that's all the time we have here for Sunrise Extra. I hope you have a great Monday. Don't forget, it is National Coffee Day. I already finished my iced coffee this morning, so I will be going out to get my free Dunkin' later on this morning. So I hope you have a great Monday and a great week.